You're watching AndyTube again, and this video is for a YouTube member, Carolyn. Carolyn contacted me about a problem on one of her 301s where the feed regulator screw stud and thumb nut would kind of move around while she was sewing. It wouldn't lock in place. And so this is a video for you, Caroline, and anybody else who is interested. If I understood right, excuse me, if I understood right, Carolyn, it kind of creeps up while you're sewing, but you said it was kind of loose. And back behind this indicator plate is a part called the feed regulator. Commonly, this is also called the stitch length control and reverse control. So there's a couple reasons and a couple ways this could be loose. There is a feed regulator screw stud that goes right through the center of the thumb nut and into the feed regulator. I don't know if I can get a better shot of that. Probably not without taking off the indicator plate. But anyway, it's just like a long screw that goes right through here and screws into the regulator. So normally you would turn this left and right if you wanted to lock in like a stitch length of 12. You'd turn that to the right and tighten it up there, but you see it's still kind of moving around and loose. So the screw itself into the regulator could be loose. And over on this side, behind the bottom of the hand wheel, there's also the feed regulator hinge screw that holds the feed regulator, and that could be loose too. So it could be one or both, either one or both. So to see if this is just loose here, you want to just back it away a little bit and stick a small screwdriver in there. How I can do this at a good angle. Stick a small screwdriver in there and move it around till you find you're in the slot, and then turn the whole thing to tighten it in. And if the thumb nut starts hitting on the indicator plate, you can back it back out, hold that while you only turn the screw. A lot of times this gets stiff and dirty in there, and when people are just turning this to regulate the length, they're actually turning the whole screw, and the screw eventually comes loose. Then can even fall out. But once you tighten that as far as it will go, that should make this thumb nut firm and also allow you to turn right to lock in a stitch like that. But in this case, we can see that the whole thing is still kind of pretty loose, and just kind of floppy. So chances are when you sew that this moves, can creep up. It's called creeping. So now that I have the feed regulator screw stud all the way tight, still have a problem. Now we're going to go work on the other side of this. You're going to have to remove the hand wheel and these parts, and it's not as bad as it seems or sounds if you've never done it. This is the stop motion nut, because when you turn it like that, you release the pressure on the stop motion washer, and then that's how you wind a bobbin, and it stops the motion to the needle bar and feed dogs. So anyway, take your small screwdriver, and this is the stop motion nut stop screw. And what they mean by stop is it stops it at a certain point just to release the pressure. But if you back it out a few turns, you don't have to really take it out. You can then unscrew the stop motion nut. It's heavier than it looks, so don't let it fall on anything and damage it. There's the back of the stop motion nut stop screw, and then in here is the washer. Come on. There we go. And you see that this side that faces you has these three little tabs, and that's that stop motion stop screw is going to hit on one of those. You see there's a couple ears here to go on the main arm shaft, and if you notice on these two ears, parallel with parallel with one of them is an indentation mark there, and then these other two are not near one of the ears. So you want to kind of keep track of how it does when you took it off, so when you put it on. When you have that off, then you're gonna just pull the hand wheel out. You may have to kind of wiggle it if it's stuck or dirty. This hasn't been restored yet, so it's kind of yucky. But now you're exposed to this indentation area, and down inside there is the feed regulator hinge screw. Let's see if I can. You see that screw down in there? So that screw has a spring behind it, and lefty loosey, righty tighty. So you would, if this is loose, you'd want to turn it to the right to tighten it up. Now that spring just keeps it in place where you turn it. So if you turn it all the way and tighten it like you think a normal screw, it tightens it so much that you can hardly move this. So you don't want it tightened down like you would normally tighten a screw. So we'll back it off and just kind of play with it like this until you feel you get a good motion. This can be moved, but it will stay in place when you get it where you want. So this hinge screw keeps the regulator tight inside the machine so that you can set the screw stud. And then the screw stud itself fastens the thumb nut to the regulator. Then when you get it all adjusted where you want, of course you're going to have to put your hand wheel and stop motion nut and everything back together. So let me show you how to do that. And the first thing you're going to want, put the hand wheel back in. And it doesn't really screw, it just goes and slides on. And sometimes you may have to wiggle it a little while you're putting it on, but you want it all the way back. Then you have to put your stop motion clamp washer back in. You see one side just has the three little indentations from those posts, and the correct side to face you has the three posts sticking out. And then Do you remember I said that this one indentation was lined up with the ear and the other two were not? So first you line up the ear with the slots on the arm, and then I just turn it so that the indentation that's by the ear goes down. Now the good thing about this is there's only two ways it can go. So if you put it on wrong, you just take it off and turn it 180 degrees and put it back on. But let's go ahead and screw back on the stop motion nut. Go ahead and put it all the way on so it's snug. And then put in the stop motion nut stop screw. And whoop, got a big screwdriver for that. And then tighten it up so it's good and snug, like that. Then to test to see if this is right, you're going to want to release, hold this and turn this towards the front of the machine, and that's really not quite enough. I don't think. Well, that might be enough. Let's try it. So now if I tighten it back up, I see that my needle bar is going up and down and my feed dogs are moving over here. Okay, then if I hold the hand wheel and turn the stop motion nut forward just to release that clamp, let's see if that stops the needle bar. No, see, it's not. Yeah, I guess it did. I guess it's just dirty. So there you go. And again, let's say this didn't work properly when you put it on. Then just loosen up the stop screw a little bit. Take off the stop motion nut. And take your washer and just turn it 180 degrees. Now there's people who mark with a Sharpie on the arm and the clamp and stuff, but I figure you got a 50% chance. So let's see, that was down before, so now we'll put that up. 180 degree difference. We'll put the stop motion nut back on. Tighten it up. Screw that in flush and try it again. Yeah, I think it was better the first time. Yep. Yeah, it's good. I think it's working okay. I guess I'm used to doing the 400s and this nut moves more, about a quarter of a turn. So now this is a lot firmer to turn the thumb nut, and you can turn it left to loosen and go to your larger strokes up to reverse. But if the hinge screw is tightened up properly so that this is more firm, most, like my wife, when she sews, she doesn't even use the lock-in. She just moves the lever up and down where she wants it, because the hinge screw is really holding the feed regulator screw stud in place. So Caroline, I hope that helps you repair your loose feed regulator system. And thanks for watching, and thanks to anybody else who's happened to catch it. And thanks for coming to my YouTube channel. Take care.